is so much value that you can add to people around you. The bottom line that I go about by is be selfless, be willing to let go of business.
This is without question one of the most incredible and relatable stories that I've ever featured on my YouTube channel. Imagine doing upwards of almost $20 million in closed volume in your first 10 months of being a full-time real estate agent, all just by doing the right thing. It sounds absolutely crazy, but today I bring on Arko, who talks about how he was able to close a ton of closed deals in one of the toughest markets that most of us have ever faced during a time where thousands of agents are leaving the industry. He skyrocketed his business with some pretty ninja lead generation strategies that he unpacks, but also he explains the mindset that he took and the approach he took to working with clients that catapulted his business to the stratosphere. And the best part is, it's free. Anybody can do this. So if you're looking to elevate your business and dominate in the next 12 months, this is one you truly need to take the time to not just listen to, but reflect on, go back, rewatch, because I can assure you, you're going to learn some things in here that you will not find in any other interview. So 2 quick things before we get started. Number 1, I'm going to link all of Arko's incredible social media channels below so that you can check him out, as he does reference one specific platform that has generated a ton of business for him for free. And the second thing is I will link Arko's calendar below in case you would like to chat with him about getting his support to absolutely skyrocket your production going forward as well, because he's helped a number of other agents with these same principles achieve similar results in different markets. So without further ado, let's bring on Arko. And again, get ready for this one, because this is one where you need to listen to the details. Don't skip a beat, because if you really apply what he shares in this, it could completely change the trajectory of your career forever. So let's get to it and dive right in. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another exciting video where today we've got on a very special guest, Arko, out of the GTA or Greater Toronto area. And, you know, you've just got such an incredible story of building massive momentum, massive success as a brand new agent. You've been licensed for like 10, 11 months now, upwards of almost $20 million in closed volume, but some really unique strategies and approaches that are so genuine, so authentic, and are ones that anybody can apply to their business. So I know if there's agents listening to this, which there will be, who are struggling or maybe didn't have the year they were expecting, or saying the last 12 months have been terrible, well, you've very easily proven otherwise. And so I'm excited to unpack some of the really cool things that you've done. But Arko, I'd love to just let you have an opportunity to introduce yourself a bit, what got you to this point, and then we can start diving into some of the more tactical strategies you've applied.
Thank you very much, Mike. And I would like, and I'm ever thankful to you for having me on your channel. It's just such a powerhouse, and I took so many of my learnings that I put on my business, like from what you teach in your courses. Just a little backstory as to what really got me going into real estate. Even before that, 2018 was when I came from my country, like from India to Canada, and it's just so amazing as to how supportive people are over here. So 2018, I come over here. 2019, I buy my first house. 2020, second. 2021, third. After which my wife said that if I move a single more year, I'm going to leave you. So I kind of paused at that. But I have been riding the upward curve. Now, when I did that, like me and my friend, who's very big on YouTube, goes by Grow with Nav. We sat down and we were getting a lot of requests from our subscribers and from our social media channels, from our YouTube channels, that, okay, you did this by yourself. So what is it that you're doing? How are you doing it? And I saw that there was a big dearth, a big gap in the market as to when people are looking for somebody to kind of put their trust into, and to kind of go about from there about their real estate journeys and needs. There was a huge void in the market from where I saw it. If my realtor told me what I could do what I could do better, the first time when I was buying my house, like what would work out in the next 3 or 4 years, I would have taken certain decisions, in a different way altogether. So purely coming from that perspective, me and my friend, we decided that, hey, you get into mortgage, I'm getting into real estate, and let's get this journey started. and it has been a crusher of a journey since then. I know for a lot of people, this year has been very, very catastrophic, like, to kind of put it in a way, because obviously the rates went up, people were leaving real estate as salesperson, they were going back to their day jobs. But this was the year I chose to be full time into real estate. I was making very good amount of money into in IT. I was working like in a full day job. This is the year when I chose I have to jump the ship, because you cannot have your focus split into two things.
Yeah.
So if there is any way that you can do it, you can just go fully on one thing. And when once I did jump full time into real estate, I realized that there is so much value that you can add to people around you. um, the bottom line that I go about by is be selfless, be willing to let go of business. Don't
Hmm.
never be pushy to people. Like, the one complaint that I hear a lot from people about around is that, I got in touch with this somebody about a particular house, and ever since I got in touch with that particular realtor, I just wanted to know what that place was about and everything. And from there on, I'm getting bombarded by mails and by calls every single day, and I don't like it. So I took my learnings from there, and I never push my clients or my prospects to a point where they feel that I'm being pushy. If anything, there have been at least 4 or 5 clients who reached out to me, and I was like, "You don't need to buy right now. You better wait." And
Yeah.
that's what they want to hear. That's the kind of honesty. That's the kind of, like, if you're being brutally honest about the scenarios, put yourself in the other guy's shoes and think about their situation, and come up with genuinely what you think about it. So, like, the accountability, the building of the trust, and having a good, nice personality to kind of like, approachable, like, somebody can just anybody can just walk up to you and, like, have a chat with you. These are the three things I absolutely go by. And then obviously when you learn more in the business, they all break down to different nitty gritties, and then you can, start applying for it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think, there's that saying of people having commission breath and being really pushy about the sale, and that was very much true this year when a lot of people were struggling, and they almost put the commission check before their client's best interest because they felt like they needed that check to keep going, but they were thus, acting in disservice to their clients and not doing the right thing for the long term. It's like when you start doing that, you're stepping over dollars to chase pennies because you're burning the bridges in the long-term relationship. So, I'd love to just kind of lean in straight off the gate about lead generation. And we can get into some of the mindset aspects later that you've applied so beautifully. But, doing nearly $20 million in your first, full-time year during a time where most people are regressing in their production, how did you go about getting this business? I know that social media is a big aspect for you, but I'd love for you to kind of unpack, which platforms, types of posts, like how did you start to build that recognition of this incredibly genuine, humble guy that you are?
Thank you. Like, I started building my pipeline up. I knew that social media is the game for sure. My friend who've been talking about, I've been extremely lucky to kind of have been, like, tagging along with him. He kind of has built a very big brand and trust in the market on social media. He is a powerhouse in lead generation by himself. But even then, like, if let's say if he's sending you, like, two people, or like two or three clients, you have to stand up for, like, to it, like, because you now have the accountability to stand by the brand name that he has built. So going purely from that perspective, I what I realized that is that if anybody, like learns about any kind, like any realtor who's doing good in the market, the very first thing that they would do is to kind of go up on Google or search them on Instagram, or maybe even YouTube, or TikTok. So the whole reason of me getting into real estate was to genuinely help people than make a lot of money for me. I was already making good amount of money, like not a good amount of money, but modestly enough to kind of go about my lifestyle in my day job. But the reason why I got into real estate was just to kind of help people. And what I did was, when I was taking up my license, I knew that it would take some time because I was working full time. I am a father of a 3-year-old kid. He takes up a lot of my time. So I started building up a pipeline. So how I started building up a pipeline on my social media, and I go completely by Instagram. And how I started building up my pipeline is that I started posting stories that I felt nobody told me when I was buying or looking to buy my first house or my second house. If I knew those things, then it would have made my journey a little better. So right off the bat, I sat down and there was this huge whiteboard that I have in my office. And then I just started noting down points that would have helped me to take some of my real estate decisions that I could have otherwise, taken other, in some other way. So purely coming from that perspective, when I started churning out those those topics, like how to, like pros and cons of making a, basement right from scratch, as to what is a legal basement, the electrical panel upgrade, these are all very, very real scenarios that people go through. And how do you want to kind of choose your realtor, what are the different things, the whole process, right? So when I started pumping out those content on my Insta channel, even before I got my leads, my license, I realized that people started connecting to me not just as a realtor but as a human being. And to be honest, like right now, there are certain clients that I have who waited for me to kind of get my license and then
Yeah.
start working with me, because they saw that, like, oh, this guy is genuine and this guy is not hungry after money. It is not a one transaction based. He is willing to talk about really uncomfortable things, and that is exactly where I connected. Like,
Yeah.
in the Indian community, there's this huge way of working through cashbacks.
Yeah.
Like you offer cashbacks and then you just get clients. And I don't even work on cashbacks for
Yeah.
somebody who is new to the business, who's trying to get clients. Like, imagine how difficult it's going to be when somebody walks up to you. The second question after the first questions is going to be, okay, I'm looking for a place, can you help me out? The second very question that's going to come at you is like, how much cashback are you offering? And that is a very uncomfortable topic. And
Yeah.
I dealt with it head on. I told them that, hey, do you want some cash back that I can give you, or do you want me to save a lot more money to kind of go in on the negotiations, to go in on certain things, to give you a lot of value add and take this relationship in a longer term? Which one would you go for more? And obviously everybody went for the long-term relationship and the value adds that they can take up from being associated with me. So building the pipeline in the social media before taking up the license, being consistent on, on how what you're promoting, what you're generating, your like thought process and value, and standing up for the right, and always being in the white area rather than in the grayish area. So just spelling it out right away, and people connect with you, and that's how a lot of my pipeline got built and a lot of lead generations follow.
I think that's amazing. Is, that's always the big concern about, agents newer in the business is, oh my God, is the only way that I'm going to be able to get business to discount my service or to give money back? And I think it's one of those concepts. It's like, if something goes on sale, people are always going to wait for it to go on sale again. And you train people to
Yeah.
say, hey, full price is just today, but I know in a couple of months it's going back down. It's the same thing. It's like, word spreads very quickly, and, repeat and referral is the way to build your business. Well, if the referral comes from somebody that says, hey, Arco, he gave me 50% back. Well, guess what they're going to be expecting? 50% back. And it's almost
Probably more.
impossible. Yeah, exactly. Or more. It's like, well, you did that for them. What can you do for me?
Yeah.
It's so difficult to dig yourself out of that hole. And I think it's just so beautiful that you decided to take that head on and build this foundation based on value and service and relationships long term, instead of saying, what can I do just to get this deal today and then hope to God I'll find another one, So
This is
it's,
something sorry. So this is something that I
yeah,
keep telling everybody that like cashback, yes, it's a really nice thing to have. But then I feel that there is so much more that a realtor can add value in rather than just giving you a cashback. Because I say this very blatantly to all my clients that realtors who offer just cashback, they can offer you just that. There is nothing else that they can offer. Like, I go in terms of the value add, the kind of research that I do. For sure, if there is right now the market is like dwindling. It's we are completely in the buyer's territory right now, nothing that we've seen so far. And there are listings where we kind of go into to kind of buy, and we know that the listing agent is offering you bonuses just to kind of incentivize you more. I spell those listings out directly to my clients and say, look, I am being offered this amount more if we kind of go and take this place up. That basically means that there's probably a red flag and there is probably some reason why this listing is not going to be sold. Let's go and check this place out. If there is anything that falls in place, and then if you're still interested in buying this property, then this bonus goes to you, because
wow.
like this is offered to me directly. So I'm being very selfless. I'm being very open and very, very honest and very transparent about the process. There are certain principles I go about my business on. No cashbacks being one. I do make sure that, like, nobody is somebody I'm working with is absolutely exclusively working with me. This is another thing that a lot of new realtors face. A lot of clients would just walk up to you when you're generating like leads on social media. They would just walk up to you, and then they will say, you know what, Arco, I'm working with somebody else, but then can you also do me, show me this property and like do your due diligence on this. The first thing that I tell him about this is that, are you comfortable working with the other realtor you have? And he says, yeah, I'm very comfortable. And I always go about saying, go and work with him, keep working with him, because it's not about just one property. It's about the trust and the value that you have built over time with somebody. And it takes time to kind of build that same kind of relationship. If you already have somebody else working for you, with you on your requirements, you would rather go with him than like, start working with me on a split basis. That way I'm just, saving both my time and effort, the other person's time and effort. And as a realtor, I owe this to the other realtor as well, to kind of not be poaching their clients out.
Yeah.
So something I absolutely go by, and people see that. People see that value add for sure. The honesty.
100%, man. That's and I'll unpack a little bit more of that when we start diving into the mindset aspect of this. But just kind of pulling the lead generation side full circle. The two questions that I have, and we'll start with one at a time. The first one being is, which platforms are you most active on? And now that you've started to be in the industry a little bit more, what type of posts are you seeing connecting the best with people on those said platforms?
I am a very Insta guy.
Yeah.
It's purely because I was supremely lazy, and from switching from my day job, I didn't know how to kind of go about different platforms. Instagram, I was already on it, so I just thought that was my best bet, and I really want to kind of master it. Your courses, Mike, like, the courses that you have on Instagram, YouTube, that helped me heaps about it. So a lot of learnings from there. The kind of posts that connect to people these days are when you're being brutally honest about
Yeah.
stuff. um, People don't want to see, from what I fathom, from what my takeaway is, people don't want to see, hey, this is such a nice house, and can you please, this is the most amazing place to kind of for you to buy. People would rather want to connect to you when you say, hey, you know what, this house that I went to, there are these things that you won't even be knowing unless you visited this place. So the honesty when you're looking for a place to kind of either to list or to buy, right? Like, the kind of honesty that you kind of put in for that particular real estate piece, people do connect to it. Just last night I was out in, like, in downtown Toronto, looking for an investor property, some condos. Some of my investors wanted to pick up some condos. I was just doing this for them virtually because they're not in Ontario. They just want to take a look at certain things. I literally go about properties and do crude video tours in the for the property, because to be honest, everybody knows how a nice place looks like.
Yeah.
A place is always made to look nice in videos, in photos. You can edit it and everything, but people relate to your content more if it's just a handheld device, nothing fancy. If it's just a phone that you had, that you're, like, holding, and you're just going about recording the whole thing. It's very crude, it's very unfiltered, and people relate to it. So just yesterday, I was in downtown looking for some condos, and guess what? I always chat up with the lady at the with whoever is there at the concierge. I say lady because that was her yesterday at the place that I went to. And guess what happened? So I was about to go and show my clients two units, like, over a video call. And before that, I always chat up on the at the concierge as to what's going on in the building, if the management's nice and everything. And I always do that. And what came out was absolutely astoundingly bad. The builder had gone bankrupt. The waste management had taken their call off from taking up the waste from the building because they were not getting paid. The servicings, the vendors who were about to service, they were not they had taken their hands off because they were not getting paid. So all of this, when you document it and when you put it out and on your social media, people do connect to it. Then people know, oh, so I should be not looking at this building, and there's a value add right then and there for you, for people who are, like, following you wholeheartedly. Number two is how, like, the research part is a huge bottleneck, and like, you can do as much research as you want about a particular property and you would still be not doing enough, right? So my way of going about things on social media is to kind of enable people, to kind of take them as close to the research that I am doing on MLS. It is not, it won't be 100%, but people do have access to different tools: Realtor.ca, House Sigma, Zolo. You can do a bunch of stuff there as well. So right now, people, investors who are tied up with me, they tell me that, oh, can you find me really good properties where I can go in and, like, swoop in and get a really good deal? The first thing I tell them is that, sure, I can help you, I can get back to you by tomorrow, but here's what you can do in the meantime. Go on to House Sigma, like, chalk out the map in the map section, find out what area you're interested in, and put in some keywords. You can do it on House Sigma. Like, make sure that you have keywords like power of sale, a distress, or motivated seller. These things, these keywords, when you're spurting it out to people who are approaching you for their real estate needs, the moment you tell them, when you're enabling them to kind of go about the search with whatever tools they have access to, they would 100% feel, oh, this guy has got so much to share and he is giving me things that I did not know about, so I would rather want to work with him.
Mhm.
So that's the connect that is 100% working right now on social media, that I see working, and people want to connect to you also because of that.
Yeah, that's incredible, and I think that that perfectly leads into, what everybody always asks when they hear about social media is, you know, what is that process like for you from start to appointment of getting leads on social media? Because people are always curious, are they DMing you? Are they calling you? Are they texting you? Are you having a Zoom call? Are you having a phone call? Like on average, and I know every situation is a little bit different, but what you're more commonly seeing, what does that journey look like of kind of dealing with online leads coming directly to you from social?
Yeah, so there the people reach out to me all the time on social media, and it's just a matter of a message, right? So they would just text me and put a message in. So what I've been trying to build a system. I'm still very new to this, and I hope that I would make it better. But how I am doing it is that I have a Calendly link on my social media profile.
Mm,
And I kind of keep promoting that on my stories, that hey, I mean, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And after every story that I put in, I kind of make sure that hey, kind of, if you want to kind of go about your if there's anything I can, like, help you with, and I make sure I point it out that you don't even need to work with me. If you have any real estate question, if you're buying your house for the very first time, or if you have anything that you want to know that you're not getting the answer of, reach out to me. Book this Calendly, go to my social media profile, go to my Insta profile, and just book a call with me, and then just let's just hop onto a call. What happens there is that there is this call that gets connected. One, I'm capturing the email IDs that, like, I'm getting from them, and I have integrated the Google Meet to my Calendly calls. So the moment they're booking their Calendly calls, there is this Google Meet link that is being sent out to them, or for the time that we are supposed to be, doing this call. And from there on, like, the moment you're talking in person, that elevates the whole conversation to a different level. It's not just having a telephonic conversation where people, when the two of us are not being able to see each other. Most of the times I have seen that when you are talking face to face, there is a vibe that you feel with the other person you're talking to. And it becomes easier to kind of relate to that other person who is talking to you, and that kind of gels well. So yeah, so Calendly, a video call booking from anybody who is trying to reach out to me, booking a video call, hopping onto a video call. The moment they say, okay, now we're ready, I think I'm great, this is exactly what I wanted to know. My next question to them would be, do you know your numbers? Because I can talk endlessly about real estate, but if I don't know the numbers that, like, that you're approved for or that you can go for, there is no way that I can help you out. So in order
mm,
to know your numbers, are you working with somebody, or would you be okay if I told you to work, like, to refer you to somebody? And most of the times they're like, oh yeah, you know what, I'm working with somebody and all. I was like, fine, if you're working with somebody, that is great. But then it doesn't pain you if you, like, shop around for better value adds, for better numbers. And mind you, better number does not always translate to better value adds. You
correct.
might be getting a good interest, a good interest person right now, but then you might have very strict like conditions tied up to those financing. So right then, right after that call, what I try and do it is to kind of get the numbers approved. So I send them to my friend Navjot, and then he has a whole strategy call with that person, and then he sits through and then really gets honest about when and how he or she should, like, go about his first transaction. Sometimes sometimes we've also mentioned that, you know what, you shouldn't be in the market right now, wait for 4 or 5 months and then come back to us. That is what works the best for you. So once that roadmap is created, so then let's say if somebody is like, okay, somebody's good to go, like, the numbers are all in place, then I create a group on WhatsApp between me, the clients, and my, like, my brokers, whoever the broker is, the mortgage broker that person is working with. The only reason why I do that is because everybody is on the same page when it goes about the house hunting, like, from there on. So that's the usual, like, roadmap from when I get a request as to when how we kind of get about things going.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love that again, it's always an evolution. There's always ways to improve it. But the fact that we can just use something as simple, basic, and elementary as Calendly to build and just to get started is so powerful because anybody can do that. And I think that's the beauty in what you're doing is these are principles and strategies that anybody can apply to their business. And bringing lead generation full circle, you talked to me, off camera about events and you've started to do events. And that's something that I know a lot of agents are curious about. Do you want to kind of unpack what that event looked like, what it was able to do for your business, and how it all kind of came about?
Oh yeah. So this year I spent a bunch of money on like sponsoring, getting into events. I was very not very optimistic of like going in with the expenses first. But what I did see was, so a couple of them were events in the Indian community. Like, there's this like religious festivals. It's not religious anymore. Those festivals, it's more like social gathering kind of stuff. It's like a happy occasion stuff. So in these kind of events, what I did was I kind of went in and tried to not sell real estate. Everybody knows, like everybody knows you're a realtor by just looking at a banner. You don't need to tell people that, hey, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm a realtor, if you have any questions, please. No. Instead of doing that, what I did was, I at all the booths that I went in on, I just never spoke about real estate. Anybody who did not initiate a real estate conversation, I didn't even talk about real estate to them. So went on about, hey, what is the how you doing, the events and everything. Gave away free gifts to everybody. Spent a little there, like to the pocket pins, but everything. And then I started realizing that people want to follow you. My primary my basic criteria was to get people to follow me on social, because I know that I am consistent on my Instagram. I don't have a huge following, but the following that I have is very, very, loyal.
Hmm.
So I churn out most of the times. I just pick up my phone. I'm like talking on stories, and when I'm going out and about showings, I just put it up on my social media. So my main thing is to kind of get them onto my social media page, and I after all the conversation that I used to have in these events, the only thing that I would just tell them is that, hey, let's connect on Insta, because everybody's on Insta or social media or Facebook or something. And I'm not saying that buy a house from me, sell a house through me.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is just connect with me on social media, and then I churn out regular contents and see if there is any kind of value add that I would love to kind of get my value add to you. And they kind of follow me, and down the road, when they're looking at the honesty, the value adds that I'm continuously churning out on my Insta, I try to be honest on my Instagram, then they start connecting with me. And then they reach out to me at one point on the messages that, hey, Arco, I think this is something that what you said like really vibed with me. Do you want to have a chat with me about something I'm looking at? And that is exactly half the battle won right there. And then you get onto a call, and then the usual process follows. So events follow, help you a lot, but then I just want to make sure that I am not being the usual realtor, in the events, like, hey, you know what, I did so much in GCI last year, come to me, connect with me, and all that stuff. So no talking real estate, very uncanny, but I've seen that work. So no talking real estate unless somebody really asks you about something.
Yeah, that's so important because the two mistakes that I see a lot of people make when it comes to networking events, attending events, is one of two things. Number one, they go with a friend and they tend to only talk with that friend. They're in this ecosystem of familiarity, comfort, and they're not actually networking. They're just basically spending time with their friend amongst a group of other people, and they don't get out of it. It's one of those concepts that you get out what you put in. And then the other thing is they go in with just again this mentality of not how can I serve, but what can I receive, and how many conversations can I have to hit my metrics about real estate for that day, versus you just say, how can I build relationships, knowing that if I build enough of them, it'll all come back to me at some way and at some point.
Absolutely. And this is the other thing that I've seen realtors, and I mean, yeah, again, I'm very new, so I'm like trying to learn everything. But I really go from a very basic position of feel good vibe. Somebody who's talking to me should not be feeling that, oh, I'm being pushy. And what I've seen, like, in events such as these, that there are obviously other realtors in the play as well. And for some reason, everybody is very like, the ones that I've seen, they get very what do you call it, competitive about stuff, that, oh, this guy is doing this, but I'm better than that guy. What I have genuinely done, and I've seen that work, like, I literally would kind of take people who are talking to me, I would literally take them and, like, introduce them to the other realtors as well. Basically, from that point on, you're building two relationships. One is with the other realtor, because you don't know, you may be like sitting across the table with the other, like, for the other realtor on a particular house transaction that you might be going for in the next 1 or 2 months. Or it just makes sense for somebody, like, he's just your peer, like, somebody who can give you a shout out when you need it. That is number one. Number two is the other person who was talking to you, who is your prospect, who can be your client. Now he is talking to you, and now he feels that this guy is being so selfless, because he's not used to seeing this. One realtor, I'm going and talking to somebody, that realtor is actually introducing you to somebody else, some other realtor. That is not something that people are used to it. So, and then purely from that perspective, he would think, oh, this guy is so confident, so selfless, that basically means that he probably has a whole lot of things that I can pick up from him. And then that's another level of connect that you kind of go into. um, so events, like, always work out well. I am also a little bit of a musician myself. So what like, I kind of love, I'm a vocalist, I kind of sing. So in events such as this, that is another thing that comes at play, where I can just forget everything about real estate, and I can just go up on the stage and have a really, really good time with people. The last event that I did, the networking event that I was talking about, that I did with my friend, there were about 400 people who paid $100 each to kind of get into those event. And it was power packed, a panel discussion with, like, really big names in the industry. My role for that event was very simple. It was 40 minutes of pure fun and joy. I went up on stage, like, sang 7 to 8 songs, came out of the stage, and then sat along with other people, and then sang again. So events such as this, I just want to make sure that I'm not all about real estate. It's more about the personality that people want to connect to. Yeah.
I love that, man. I think it's just so awesome to see the genuine approach that you've taken to this, and just seeing that you're genuinely just having fun with it. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost, is they're miserable. They haven't found their way to just enjoy the process and have fun. And when you're having fun and enjoying the process, it shows through your personality, through your energy, as it so can with you. So, you know, the mindset aspect of it. You talked about accountability, you talked about doing proper research. And I think as somebody like yourself, coming in as somebody that, had a good income before, you're going full time during the year that most people left.
Yeah.
I'd love to get your kind of words of wisdom for people saying, okay, I'm watching this video right now. Either A, I'm just starting real estate, or B, the last year was a nightmare. What's kind of your advice to somebody that needs to build momentum, and the mentality they need to have in order to see similar success that you have?
The only the basic rule that I have is be selfless. I know that I'm like hitting this word time and again, but then that is really what is working for me right now. When people see that you are being selfless, you're giving more than you're taking. The whole idea is to basically build for yourself a place of abundance. When you have like 6 7 clients, you're working in parallel, like, you're having 6 to 7 clients that you're working in parallel in a market such as this. You have created a place of abundance for you. So your point number one would be to kind of do that. How you get to that place of abundance is basically showcase the accountability that you have. being very, very genuine, putting yourself in the other person's shoe and taking those decisions like as if it was your house that you're going
Hmm.
for, right? There have been so many times in the past 4 months. A big mindset that I follow is to say no to people. Like, if you don't need to buy a house, you don't need to buy a house. And you know how, when you say no to a kid or to somebody, they want that even more.
Yeah.
And that is something that I have seen working real time. It's not even a strategy. It's just something where I'm being genuinely honest. Like, what a lot of people say, like, what a lot of people hear, like when they want to buy their first house, is why are you paying somebody else's mortgage? Why, this is throwaway money. Like, your rent is your throwaway money, right? So you might as well just build something up for yourself. But in a situation, in a time like this, when the rates are so high, I point it out very blatantly to all my clients that, hey, listen, when I'm having my first call, you are paying a rent of, let's say, like $2,000 over here. So you're staying somewhere and you're fine with it. You don't have any immediate need of a more of a bigger space. Just make sure that you don't fall in the FOMO just because everybody else around you is buying a house. So your rent is your throwaway money. That is right. But then what your throwaway money is as well is the interest part that you're paying on the once you buy a house. Now, which one of these throwaway money would you prefer is your prerogative. It is your call, and I kind of educate them this thing the very first time I have a call with them on. When they hear somebody saying no to them, which is otherwise they in their head is beneficial for me, they think that this guy is actually genuine and he is being honest about it. And that is the very first time when I kind of cement that the trust factor, the honesty with the client, and that carries a long way. So, like, saying no, and when saying no when it actually doesn't make sense for somebody to buy a house, makes a whole lot of difference. And I have had clients, like, who actually have taken up and, like, homes that they haven't even visited, their primary homes, that their first, like, home that they haven't even visited, just based on the fact that I have gone in and seen those places. I have made those videos that I was talking about, sent it out to them, and I did my due diligence and research. And because of the trust that they had in me, they were like, okay, Arco, if you think this is something that we should go for, let's go for it. Let's put down a firm offer, not even conditional. And that is when I feel, oh, that is a huge responsibility that somebody has on me, and I would have to double down on the accountability as well. So
Yeah, that's so amazing. I think, just that whole concept of you treating other people's money as if it's your own is such a good litmus test that a lot of people avoid. When I got started in real estate, the market was terrible, and I had to take a similar approach because we were all starving. But, it's you have an active duty to do the right thing for your clients, and who's going to be your biggest advocates, and the one that actually helps them do the right thing, and long term what that's going to turn into for your business. So I absolutely love it, man. I think you've taken such a beautiful approach to this business, and the momentum you built in your first year is so admirable. As we're pulling this full circle, we always like to ask, what kind of led you to making a decision to align with EXP and our group specifically? And then the second component to that is, what can people expect when partnering with you? Because there's going to be so many people listening to this saying, I want to do what Arco's done. I'm struggling. I want to be able to start to generate business on social media and do events and, educate myself like you. So what do those two things look like?
so coming to your first question, Mike, EXP has been a big powerhouse in my journey, uh, especially Wolfpack. I have like when I was like on my like Sims 2, when I was almost about to kind of finish up, like get my license. Somebody who was there in Sims 1, Matthias Perez, is in Wolfpack 2. He had already joined the Wolfpack, and he reached out to me and he was like, Arco, I think this is going to be a good fit for you because everything's virtual, and I was looking for something very virtual because I was still in my day job. I was still in my full-time job, and I was trying to take time, trying to make that decision as to where what would work out best for me, like in terms of how I work. And EXP just sat amazingly in that position, because everything's virtual. People are super responsive. Like, you would think that if you're not seeing somebody in person, then there would probably a lag or a delay in when you're trying to get stuff out, out from people. That is not the case with EXP. If anything, if there is when you reach out, people are so accountable. When you reach out to people for anything that they are responsible for, you get answers in a jiffy, for sure. So EXP was obviously the choice that I went for. I also liked, and after EXP came Wolfpack. Now in EXP, there are so many groups that we have, right? Like some bigger groups. Wolfpack resonated with me just because of the amazing people I spoke to. I'm having this amazing, opportunity to talk to you in person. But then even before that, when I got into a call with
Mm-hmm.
um, Daniela, and they were just amazing. They're crushing it in their businesses, and the kind of accountability that they have. They're reachable almost all the time, not 24/7, but then I wouldn't be lying if I said that they are almost reachable 24/7, like not just a text or just a call. There's this huge group that's going on in Wolfpack, where it's such a nice family and kind of a bonding that us as peers have. We exchange notes, we exchange our ideas, we reflect on other people's ideas, we do give our suggestions, and nobody would know 100% about the game that they're going on with.
Mm-hmm.
In a group of like around 70, 80 people, when everybody's going through certain things in their own businesses, they have something very exclusive to bring onto the table. And when you are in the middle of such a nice group in Wolfpack and EXP, you cannot lose. Like, there is definitely winning takeaways from there. So Wolfpack all the way, and just amazing as to how people bond and relate to each other in the place.
Yeah, it means the world to me to hear that, man. And again, just seeing the ecosystem that you're involved in the GTA with Dimitri, Daniela, and that whole community is so powerful. And it's just nice to be able to align with people that are on the same mission, have the same vision, have the same morals, values, ethics, and are incentivized to help you win and see you succeed. And I think it's such a beautiful partnership that I'm super grateful to be on with you. And again, the last thing is, what can people expect when partnering with you, which also means Daniela, Dimitri, myself, and this whole kind of collaborative community that will help people go to that next level?
I really want to. Okay, so there are two different goals that I have for the brand that I'm building right now. Whatever is the short term goal is like what I am doing in real estate, but actually in the long term goal would be to kind of get into music production, music label. I know it's very unrelated from where we are talking, but I must touch base on this because that is a very big driving factor for me.
Yeah.
So when people reach out to me, and I do have a ready-made in all these events that I go to, a lot of people just walk up to me and say, "Hey, what do I need to do to be a realtor?" And I never ever discourage anyone to become a realtor. I always tell everybody that if anything, even if you don't get full time into the real estate business, right? After you've taken up your license, you can at least sell and buy homes for yourself. You would at least be able to save up your commission, right? So I always encourage people to kind of get into real estate. I have a readily made email with all the links, whatever helped me in my real estate journey in taking up the license. I've put in all those links, all the Facebook groups that I was part of, all the different sections, all the different tools that I used and everything. So I readily share it with them. So when people come to me and ask me about to tie up with me, I am all up for making the brand a real big success. Like, I am talking about getting full time into lead generation, like, where we do bulk sales into pre-construction. I mean, can you imagine how amazing it'll be if, let's
Yeah.
say, Madame or some other builder is releasing a very nice project some other day, and you were the only one who had the first dibs to that project just because of the amount of people that is following you. The people that I'm talking about, my friend and me, we got into Calgary. Like, there's this the C10 community is a huge community
Mm-hmm.
which was coming up when they were launching their project. We did our we obviously invested. We always burn our hands first before pitching
Yeah.
anything to our clients. So we went in, we took up a house in Calgary in the C10 community. When we saw that working, when we saw as to how amazing that was, we went ahead and pitched it on our, on our social medias and everything. We sold Calgary, and to a point where we sold around 55 units in, and these are semis. I'm talking about semis
Mm-hmm.
or options, to a point that there was, like, the realtor that we had tied up. I'm sorry, I did not know you back then. It was even before I took up my license. But then the realtor we tied up with in Calgary, it came to a point where she gave us a call and said, hey, we have only 10 more homes left, and there are 70 more people on your wait list. So can you choose as to who these 10 homes should go to? So it came
Wow.
to that, right? So the whole point that I'm trying to say is that when you have enough lead generation, when you create a place of abundance for yourself, then you can actually get into different ways into different markets. um, Assignment sales, pre-constructions, resales, all of that. Bulk pricing is definitely something that people want to work on with, and that is the goal that I'm trying to go with. So any realtor who is please listening to this, and who wants to tie up with me, who's starting out for yourself, I'd say reach out to me. And like, the research is one big aspect that I really really want everybody to kind of focus on. The more the due diligence is, the better the results are. And then it's like, it's a win for everybody, like, across the table.
100%, man. Well, again, Arko, I'm so proud of you, man. It's been incredible to just see your journey and the fact that you come from this genuine place of having such a heart of gold, wanting to pour into people and always doing the right thing, and just wanting to serve. And I think, it's very clear that that's coming back to you with good karma in full circle based on the success and momentum that you built. And I know anybody that decides to book that call with you and align with you are going to see a life-changing difference in their business and their approach. So, um, Arko, again, thank you so much for coming on today, man.
It was absolutely my pleasure, Mike. I mean, it's amazing to be on your channel. You're such a powerhouse. You're such a motivator yourself, and you've motivated me a lot, like in all your courses and everything. So thank you very much for that, Mike.
Thank you, my friend. Again, guys, as mentioned, I'm going to link all of Arko's incredible content below so you can check it out, as well as his Calendly link so that you can chat with him about what that partnership looks like. And you definitely want to make sure you do that because he is clearly on the right path to success that you need as well. So thank you so much, my friend. And guys, we'll see you in the next video.